And I'm Bruce St. James. He's Rob Hunter. She is Becky Lynn. And here are the stories that people are talking about. We call it the playlist.
Track one.
All right, the focus is on Florida today as voters there head for the polls. Now, support for Newt Gingrich appears to be slipping day by day, probably no doubt due to the $12 million in commercials talking crap about Gingrich. That probably didn't help him at all. And support for Mitt Romney is increasing. He has a 15-point lead as of yesterday. The polls close at 5 p.m. tonight.
It's amazing. Just the last primary election we had, the South Carolina one, Gingrich was the man.
Yeah, he's a man.
All the way, and I was flabbergasted.
Yeah.
But now, here he is. You know, it just changes every day. What a flip-flop.
It's all about sports, man. This is what it is. It's Red Sox, Yankees. But the problem is, during the Republican primaries, the Democrat, it's the same thing. It's it's the Red Sox versus Yankees in the same party, and then it becomes Red Sox, Yankees again. And it's just fun to watch. It's interesting to see what happens. And, you know, I don't think anything's going to stop Mitt from becoming the nominee. But, hey, at least Newt's giving him a run for his money at this point.
Track two.
Well, sometimes you put things on social media you don't really mean to, or you do, and you think, oh, I probably shouldn't have done that. Well, it turns out the government is watching.
Uh-oh.
They
Really?
are,
Uh-oh.
yes. Two British tourists found out the hard way. One of them tweeted he was visiting America, and he was going to destroy America.
Destroy America!
Destroy America. And then he was picked up at customs, held for 5 hours, and then held overnight before he was sent back home.
Really?
Turns out, well, he was from Great Britain, and it turns out that to destroy America meant they were going to party till the cows came home.
I just find this funny that this is what the Homeland Security Department thinks they're doing to prevent terrorists by monitoring Twitter.
Yeah.
I can just go back in time and imagine all the terrorists that were serious about their plots.
The
aren't
real
going to
terrorists?
They're not going to announce it on Twitter or Facebook.
Really?
No.
You don't think
I
they're
don't
going to
think so.
describe their
No.
jihad in 140 characters or less?
No.
You really don't. You don't think
so.
you're going to get that?
No, I don't think so.
So the TSA is keeping us safe once again from drunk British people.
Yes.
Outstanding. At least I know what their goal is.
Track three.
Hey, man, this president we've got's pretty cool, right? He
Really?
was at a Google Hangout yesterday. He was asked questions by users. And look, I'll admit, I think this is a pretty cool way to get in touch with the president because you don't really have a chance otherwise. Now, granted, the questions are pre-selected, but here's the one that's getting the most attention. A woman was asking the president about how come her husband can't find a job. The president responded by saying, well, what does he do? Well, he's an engineer. All right, well, look, why don't you send me his resume? I'm interested to find out why he can't find a job. It's an interesting exchange, but is it selfish on this woman's part, or is this the president trying to do what he can to help you?
I hope that's not a rhetorical question. You're goddamn right it's selfish. The president of the United States, the leader of the free world, is not a job placement service for your out-of-work husband. Listen, the president even said, I'll get to work on this. I'll look into this. I don't want him wasting time finding job for one person. There are millions of people that need jobs, and she is being unbelievably selfish by assuming the president is going to help her husband find a job.
I don't think she's being selfish at all. If I had a chance and I was in her situation and I could say it, I would have said it too.
You're doing it wrong.
And honestly, for him to say, send me his resume, that makes him, to me, one of us. That's
Running for re-election.
I just think he won't have to look very hard or very far.
Track four.
Well, you might only be one hardship away from being poor, and if that's the case, you're not alone. Almost half of all Americans are in the same situation. The Corporation for Enterprise Development, what they do is they crunch the numbers together, and they found that 127 million Americans, nearly half of us, couldn't survive a major financial emergency. If any of these people suffered something like a job loss or a medical emergency, they would all fall below the poverty line within 3 months.
It's very hard. You know, people, financial experts will say you need to have 6 to 9 months worth of living expenses put aside just for the emergency. So save up for that, and then once you get all those thousands put away, now we need we need a car.
Yeah.
You know, now you got to save up for the down payment on the car. Don't touch that other. And then we'd like to buy a house. Oh, you got to save up $20,000. It's hard to put all that money away.
Well, and it's always interesting that these reports come out and tell us how poor we are, but they never offer any solutions. You know, it's never like, hey, this is what you could do to fix this. This is what you could do to save more money. This is what you could do to cut down on your mortgage or whatever. That's never part of the equation here. And maybe that's what we need to be talking about.
Track five.
Doesn't it make you feel good when you go into Walmart and they say, hi, how are you, when you walk in the door?
Depends what kind of mood I'm in.
Well, okay. I always say hi and try to be pleasant. Well, the Walmart greeters, the iconic greeters, are going away.
Really?
No more Walmart greeters. What's this world coming
Por
to?
qué? Why?
Actually, they're going to be put in high traffic areas of the store where they'll now be asking customers if they need any help. And, I hope they have the answer when you say, yes, I do.
Yeah.
But, no more greeters. Don't really know why.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? Maybe it's time for a change at Walmart because I always found that to be a needless position. I don't need to be welcome to Walmart when I walk in by someone who seems very disinterested that I'm in the store to begin with. So maybe this is the right move by Walmart.
They have a union? Because the greeters are up in arms over this. It reminds me of remember what ex-heavyweight boxers, after they lost and got the stuffing beat out of their heads, they become greeters at Vegas casinos where they would stand out front and say hi to you. And I always thought, well, that's about the most useless job in the world. That was until Walmart started doing the same for elderly people.
Track 6.
Isn't there something to be said for loyalty?
Yeah.
We all know that it doesn't happen in sports anymore. So Indianapolis Colts owner Jim Irsay is saying, look, I want to keep Peyton Manning around, but I can't afford to be sentimental when it comes to his quarterback. Peyton Manning's been on that team since he was drafted, 97, 98, somewhere in that ballpark. But he's due a big $28 million signing bonus in March. And Irsay is saying, look, this isn't fantasy football. It's all about the money.
Well, he's right. It's all well and good for everybody else who likes Peyton Manning to go, write a check for $28 million. Oh, yeah? Then you write the check for $28 million if it's so important to you. It's amazing how easily we spend other people's money.
I doubt Peyton Manning, much as I love him, is one car payment away from, or a car repair away from being in the poorhouse. He made his money this year, and he didn't play at all because he had the neck injuries. And then now here's this bonus that he may or may not get. He could probably retire and live happily ever after and open a car dealership like most of them do.
There you go, following the fine path of John Elway. Nice work. All right, that is the playlist. We run down the stories that people are talking about in playlist form. We do it at 9:30, 10:30, and 11:30. Thank you for joining us for the playlist.